The sky above the imperial capital of Varelia burned violet, streaked with silver clouds that glowed from the twin suns setting beyond the crystalline spires. Every tower reflected the dying light, turning the city into a forest of molten glass. Billions watched from screens across the empire as the procession entered the Hall of Ascendance. The hall was older than memory, older than recorded time. Its floor was black stone mined from the heart of a dead star, polished so perfectly it mirrored the ceiling, a vast dome of transparent alloy through which the cosmos shimmered. Inside, the air thrummed with ancient energy. This was where empresses were crowned, where wars were declared, where fate bent to will. And today, the Empress Jaran waited to receive a prisoner. She stood on the upper dais, tall and regal, her 4 eyes glowing faint gold. Her armor was grown, not built, biological plates fused with living metal, pulsing like slow heartbeats. The crown upon her elongated skull wasn't decoration. It was a neural amplifier, linking her thoughts to the planetary network, to fleets beyond the system, to every citizen who whispered her name in awe or fear. None dared meet her gaze directly, except one being who did not yet understand why he should. The doors opened with a resonant hum, and the guards entered. They were towering Varelian sentinels, 6-limbed giants whose exoskeletons shimmered with blue-black armor. Between them walked a single human. He wore a gray jumpsuit. No chains. No visible restraints. Yet every step he took was surrounded by invisible gravitic fields that could crush him into paste if he moved too suddenly. His name was Daniel Hale. He had been found drifting alone in a one-man scout craft near the Empire's outer border. No weapons. No identification. No records of Earth in the Galactic archives. Just a man with dark hair, tired eyes, and an expression that suggested curiosity outweighed fear. When he reached the center of the hall, the sentinels stepped aside. Silence fell across the galaxy. Empress Jaran descended the steps. Her movements were slow, ceremonial. The sound of her armored feet against the starstone floor echoed like thunder. She stopped before the human, towering over him by nearly a meter. Protocol demanded she observe him, ask questions, decide his fate. But the moment her eyes locked onto his face, everything else ceased to exist. Her breath caught. Her heart stuttered. A memory surged so violently through her mind that she nearly collapsed. She knew him. She recognized him. And that was impossible. Because the last time she had seen him, he was a child, on a world that no longer existed. A ghost from a dead world. Daniel looked up at her. "So," he said, voice steady but soft, "you're the Empress." Gasps rippled through the watching nobles. No one addressed her so casually. Not even kings of conquered worlds. Jaran did not respond immediately. She studied his face. The symmetry. The tiny scar above his left eyebrow. The subtle pattern of his irises. Her voice finally emerged, low and trembling. "What is your name?" "Daniel Hale." The translation drones converted the sound into the Varelian tongue, but the original syllables hit her like a spear. She took a step back. It could not be. The human before her was young, perhaps 25 cycles. Yet the memory burned within her was older than that. Much older. A memory of fire. Of steel. Of screams. Of a small boy holding a broken metal toy and staring at her with eyes full of defiance and terror. A boy she had spared. A boy whose world she had destroyed. "Where," she whispered, "is your origin world?" Daniel hesitated. "I don't know," he admitted. "My ship's AI says Earth is my birthplace, but there are no coordinates for it in my databanks. The records are corrupted. I only know. I've always felt like something is missing." The hall spun around her. Earth. The lost planet. The forbidden name. 10,000 cycles ago, before she was Empress, before she commanded fleets, before she wore the crown, there had been a world called Earth. And she had led the invasion. 2. The Forgotten Invasion. Jarun closed her eyes. Memory unfolded. She saw herself as a young commander, ambitious, ruthless, determined to prove her worth to the throne. Earth had been a newly discovered world, rich in water, oxygen, and biological diversity, perfect for assimilation into the empire. But humans had resisted, not with advanced technology, but with ferocity, unpredictability, and a stubborn refusal to bow. The war had been short and brutal. Cities burned. Oceans boiled. The sky turned black with orbital bombardment. In the final days, as her forces swept through the ruins of a human settlement, she had encountered a child, a small boy, covered in ash, clutching a metal toy shaped like a starship. He had stared up at her, not crying, not begging, just glaring with raw hatred. Her soldiers had raised their weapons, but she had stopped them. Something about the child unsettled her. Not fear, no. Defiance. A spark that reminded her of herself. Leave him, she had ordered. The planet will die soon enough. And indeed, Earth had died. Its core destabilized during bombardment. The world cracked and burned until nothing remained but drifting debris. No survivors. So the record stated. And yet, here he stood. Daniel Hale.
Grown. Alive.
Impossible. 3. A question that shook an empire. Jarun opened her eyes again. Her voice carried across the hall. How did you survive? Daniel blinked. Survive what? The destruction of Earth. Daniel frowned. I told you I don't know where Earth is. My ship's data says I was born on a research station in deep space. But I've always had dreams. Of a blue sky. Of a woman made of metal. Of fire in the sky. The nobles murmured nervously. Dreams. Fragments of memory. Jarun's mind raced. If a human survived Earth's destruction, then her greatest sin was not buried. It lived, breathed, stood before her now. And more dangerously, if others existed, the Empire believed Earth eradicated. A dead threat. A closed chapter. But this man was proof the chapter was not closed. It was merely waiting for the offer. Jarun straightened, regaining her composure. Her voice hardened into imperial steel. You trespassed in imperial territory. By law, your fate is mine to decide. Daniel met her gaze. Then decide. She admired his courage, or perhaps his ignorance. I will not execute you, she said. Instead, you will remain here. You will learn our language, our history, our technology. You will serve as my personal guest.
Guest.
Not prisoner. The court reacted with shock. Daniel studied her suspiciously. Why? Jarun leaned closer, her golden eyes boring into his. Because, she said quietly, so only he could hear, I know you. Daniel's heart skipped. We've never met. Yes, she whispered. We have. Lessons in the palace. Days passed. Daniel was given quarters overlooking the glowing city. Drones taught him Varelian language. He explored hallways filled with living architecture, walls pulsing like veins, windows opening into starfields. And always the Empress watched him. She questioned him for hours each day, about his dreams, about fragments of memory, about strange instincts he couldn't explain. He spoke of a lullaby he sometimes hummed without knowing why. She recognized it. A melody once broadcast from Earth's radio towers, now silent for millennia. He described a symbol he often drew absent-mindedly. A circle crossed by 3 lines. Earth's ancient emblem of unity. With each revelation, her certainty grew. He was not merely a survivor. He was the child, the last witness to Earth's fall. 6. The truth revealed. On the seventh day, Jarun dismissed all attendants and stood alone with Daniel in a chamber overlooking the stars. "You deserve the truth," she said. With a gesture, she projected an image between them, a burning world, breaking apart. Daniel stared, breathless. "That's Earth," he whispered. "Yes," she replied. "And I destroyed it." Silence stretched. Daniel's voice shook. "Then why am I alive?" Jarun's gaze softened for the first time in centuries. "Because I spared you." Memory transferred. A projection of her younger self, kneeling before a child amid ruins. The toy starship. The silent decision. Daniel watched his own past. Tears welled in his eyes. "You murdered my world," he said. "Yes." "Why show me this?" "Because I need to know," she said. "Will you seek revenge?" Daniel's fists clenched. Every instinct screamed yes. Every human story ever told said he should hate her, destroy her, burn her empire. But he looked out at the stars. Countless worlds. Countless lives. None had known Earth. None bore guilt for its fall. Revenge would change nothing. He exhaled.
"No," he said.
"I won't become what you were." For the first time in 10,000 cycles, Jarun bowed her head. 7. A threat beyond the throne. But peace was not so easily claimed. The Imperial Council had learned of Daniel's existence. A survivor of a purged world meant the Empress had committed an unsanctioned mercy. A crack in the image of absolute rule. Whispers of rebellion spread among ambitious nobles. A council decree arrived. The human must be executed to erase dangerous history. Jarun stood before the assembled council, her crown humming with power. "You question my authority?" she asked. "The Empire cannot afford symbols of weakness," replied the council speaker. "Kill the human. Preserve stability." Jarun's jaw tightened. For the first time since she had taken the throne, she felt something more powerful than ambition. Regret. And, perhaps, affection. She returned to Daniel. "Leave," she said. "Take a ship. Go beyond Imperial reach. Live." Daniel stared at her. "You defy your own empire?" "Yes." "Why?" Jarun hesitated. "Because," she said, "the universe deserves a chance to know humanity again. And because I will not destroy Earth twice." 8. Escape from Varelia. Alarms blared across the palace. Sentinels stormed corridors. Daniel ran beside Jarun through glowing passageways toward a hidden hangar. A sleek scout vessel waited. "Go," she urged. Daniel stopped at the ramp. "Come with me." Jarun shook her head. "The Empire needs an Empress. If I leave, chaos follows. Billions will suffer." Daniel understood. He nodded, pain in his chest. "Then I'll rebuild," he said. "Somewhere. A new Earth." Jarun smiled, a small, genuine expression never seen by her subjects. "Then I will watch the stars," she said, "and hope your world thrives." Guards poured into the hangar. Energy weapons raised. Daniel stepped into the ship. The hatch closed. Engines roared. The vessel shot upward, punching through the city's shield and vanishing into hyperspace. Jarun turned to face her soldiers. "I permitted his escape," she declared. "Any who challenge my will may do so now." None did. 9. A seed among the stars. Years later, far beyond imperial borders, Daniel stood on a green world beneath a blue sky. Children ran through tall grass. Metal domes shimmered in the distance, human-made, rising from fertile soil. A new civilization growing from one survivor's dream. Daniel looked up at the stars, remembering golden eyes and a burning world. He whispered, "We're alive." And across the galaxy, in a palace of crystal and living metal, an empress looked up at the same stars. And for the first time in her eternal reign, she felt hope. The new world had no name yet. Its oceans were deep and blue, its sky streaked with soft clouds, its forests tall and singing with wind. Daniel stood barefoot on warm soil, feeling life beneath him, real, thriving, undeniable. Behind him, human voices echoed from newly built structures of steel and glass. Generators hummed. Children laughed. Seeds were being planted. Humanity was no longer a ghost. He raised his eyes to the stars. Somewhere among them was Varelia. Somewhere, an alien empress sat upon a throne of living metal, ruling an empire that believed itself eternal. Yet she carried a secret now, one no archive recorded, no historian dared write. Earth had not been erased. It had been reborn. In the imperial palace, Empress Jarin stood alone before the vast window of crystal. The galaxy shimmered like scattered diamonds. Her reflection stared back at her, ancient, powerful, feared. But behind her golden eyes lived a memory, a boy with a toy starship, defiant in the ashes of a dying world. Her empire had conquered thousands of civilizations. She had outlived rivals, wars, and stars themselves. Yet it was mercy, not conquest, that would echo longest across time. A whisper escaped her lips, unheard by any courtier. "Grow strong, child of Earth." She turned from the window. The empire still needed its empress. Order must remain. History would never know the truth of what she had done. But somewhere, among the infinite dark, a new human sun would rise. And when it did, the galaxy would remember Earth again. Final line for narration. The alien empress could not hide it. She had recognized the human instantly. And by sparing him, she had unknowingly resurrected an entire species.